I thought it'd be useful to deconstruct how a smear campaign works, pretty much because they did it to me.
A controversial Labor-aligned comedian.
Who'd have thought there'd be a downside to being extremely controversial in the public's eye? Anyway, you know Jackie Trad? If you're in Queensland, you must. It's like she's been a current affair for a year straight. I'm surprised she doesn't do her parliamentary speeches like this.
Don't film me! Don't fucking film me!
What is your statement?
Yeah, that is my statement, Mr. Speaker. Just don't film me, that's all, thanks.
She is one of the most smeared politicians in recent history, right up there with Kevin Rudd, Daniel Andrews, and of course Craig Kelly. As I do not have the world's smallest face. Have you even seen the movie poster to SpongeBob? And no, actually, now that I look at it, my face is smaller, fair enough. Every time you see a Labor politician, or Labor-aligned comedian, smeared in the paper, it's for one reason and one reason only. Because they're effective, and they're a threat to the oligarchy. Anyway, let's dissect what happened to Trad like she's a dead frog. The Murdoch press has had it in for the former Treasurer of Queensland, pretty much because she's like that other former Treasurer, Paul Keating. She's a gun. Her takedowns are a major reason Labor clawed its way back to power after just one term, when they had just 9 out of 93 seats in Parliament. 9. There are more Eskimos in the Northern Territory than there were Labor politicians in Queensland, yet she brought them back from that. In fact, not just brought them back, was gutsy. You know what that means? It means she had a lot of smack-googles. Hope that gibberish clarifies things. She was crucial in pushing through really important bills like the Vegetation Management Act, which stopped Brazil-level land clearing in Queensland, and the Mines Rehabilitation Act, which pretty much stipulated that mining companies can't just leave an area looking like a fucking orc breeding ground when they're done. So obviously, throwing out the ruling elite's party of choice and then forcing them to do unreasonable things like not cut down every tree in the state, they just turned their now idle axes on Trad. You couple that in with the fact that she's in a marginal seat, convincing the Murdoch press to make her the mark was like dangling a piece of meat in front of starving dogs, which, now that I think about it, is barely even a metaphor for the Murdoch press. Now, being well aware of the irony in calling the Murdoch press a bunch of dog and then following it with this point, this is the key element of a smear campaign. You ready? They pick anything. Anything at all, just keep repeating it until it seems like it's a big deal. For example, they could just pick the fact that she looks like Bette Midler in The Simpsons. Just keep droning on about that over and over. Jackie Trad refuses to answer if she was previously aware of that comparison. Yeah, classic Polly, always dodging the tough question. You think that's an exaggeration? It is, but barely. Her big crime was supposedly personally installing a principal at a local Brisbane school. Now, I could bore you with the details of this carefully constructed, convoluted smear, but let me put it this way. If it went down exactly as the Courier Mail said it did, even if she did appoint a principal, I really want to know, do you give the slightest of f***s? Even on principle? That corruption allegation is A, fabricated, B, even though it's made up, still sucks. At least accuse her of being Anastasia from the Russian royal family and is only hiding in Anastasia Palaszczuk's government to add yet another smokescreen. They suffocate the press cycle with these petty, boring accusations. Rudd threw a hairdryer. Trad appointed a principal. Ivan Milat killed 7 people. The point is to make these accusations so mundane, so dull that people read the headline, get on with their day, and all they're left with is the aura of wrongdoing. I mean, do you honestly think that's the worst corruption going on in Queensland? Every time I cross the border, I have to remind myself, no, you're not in Thailand. There's more people wearing rip curl shirts here. Even if members of the government appointing public servants really riles you up, which is silly anyway, because what? Since when have they had the power to do that? I thought judges were just plucked out of an Oslo airtime. Let me give you some examples of some stories that missed the front page because of this on-principle campaign. Federal LNP member John McVeigh, his brother indirectly benefited from a $5.5 million regional jobs grant. He gets to plead defense that it's a small world. Surely that's more than what a principal makes. Did he make the front page? Does a clown live in my shoe? Yes. Alright, bad example. The point is, he didn't get squat diddly attention in the Queensland press. Deb Frecklington, leader of the opposition, campaigned for $10 million in funds to a $2.9 billion dam project that would be built by a company employing her husband. I mean, for f***'s sake. They have such little scrutiny on them, they can be that blasé about the favours they do for their friends and family, because what do the front pages in the Queensland press focus on? This incessant obsession with every move that Jackie Trad makes that makes you wonder, have they mistaken her for Jackie O? And why? Because she holds the LNP to account. So what do? Smear her with baseless corruption accusations to delegitimise her. What starts happening, and they're well aware of this is a deliberate strategy of the press. It's as old as roads, divide and conquer. They start making the name of the target, in this case Trad, so toxic that even her supporters have to start denouncing her to save their own skin, causing fractures in the party, and as a result, she chose to step down as treasurer in order to take away some of the incessant heat on the government, which is exactly what the LNP want, as it means her attacks get less airtime. So like I said at the beginning of this video, if the Murdoch press is devoting that much of their artillery to campaigning against her, you know she's good. That's why you're going to make sure she's re-elected, because she's one of the biggest thorns in the side of the mining and development companies that really run that state. To find out how, join the Common Sense Brigade. Name invented by Neil and I on the Neil and Jordan podcast. Check that out. The point is, like this video if you get the name of the group. And subscribe if you don't, because I'm not giving up on you that easy. I'm going to keep teaching you like it's Dead Poet Society, but with no emotional attachment. See you on Friday, kids.
Please share and comment below. Comment.